All right, everybody, it looks like we are live. I don't know why Lindsay's comment from last week is still up there, but we will take it off. Hello, happy Friday. As some of you know, Joel, my right-hand man, is not with us today. So, it sounds like he died by saying no, he just had another obligation. And so I am grateful to Mike, one of our students who is standing in and is going to be posting some links for us today. So anyway, I really appreciate that. If you are just joining us for the first time or you are watching the recording, my name is Margie Remmers-Davis. I am the creator of the Fast and Easy Way to QuickBooks Online Pro Advisor certification. And this is our weekly live stream, which we hold every Friday, 11 a.m. Eastern Time, inside of our exclusive QBO Gym Locker Room Facebook group. This is a Facebook group where we are dedicated to getting hands-on practice in QuickBooks Online. We have a treasure trove of nearly 100 absolutely free exercises that you can access and practice QuickBooks Online. All right, and we have our message from our stand-in right-hand man, Mike, says howdy. So thank you. Thank you to all of you who are giving eCam permission so that I can see your name and I can welcome you. I can see who you are. I've got Sam and Brock and Ashley and Karen. Thank you so much. Mike, one of the links that I sent you was the eCam permission. So if you want to go ahead and post that in the chat for us, so anybody who's joining us can see that because we are streaming via eCam. There it is. You have to give permission to eCam because we're in Facebook. We have to give permission so that I can know who you are. All right, so here is what it looks like to be inside of the locker room. As it says, we have nearly 100 free exercises. I am bound and determined to get that number over 100. Like, I really want to be able to say on these live streams, we have over 100 exercises, but I'm too honest. I'm too honest for my own good. All right, so it's so close, guys. I don't know, it's like 89 or maybe it's even in the 90s now. I don't know. All right, so anyway, so here you are. This is the admin view, like I'm an administrator. So this is going to look a little bit different for you, but you'll get the gist of it. So here in the featured section, we have a couple of things. We have a link to our free exercises. I'll talk to you about that in a minute. We do also have paid exercises, which there's a little video here about what's the difference between that. And then right here is our ongoing survey on what exercises you would like me to create next. And I don't want to ignore all the people who are saying good morning, good morning, good morning. I'm so glad you're here. All right, so I did in the email last night send again the link to the survey if you haven't participated in what exercises you would like to see coming up. Though this survey is currently all focused on Pro Advisor challenges. So let me just take a minute to talk about what a Pro Advisor challenge is. Okay, I'm going to hop over to my QuickBooks account. So here I am inside of my QBOA account. If you are watching the recording and you don't know what a QBOA account, that's QBO Accountant Account, which is a free account if you are an accounting professional, accountant, bookkeeper, tax advisor, all of that good stuff. So here I am inside of my account, and when you go on the left navigation bar to Pro Advisor Training, and please, so Maria is saying, please resend the survey. Let me go. Okay, Maria. So you're here live because you are a member of the locker room. So inside the locker room, you go to the featured section right here, and here is the survey. Like this is, so it's in the email that I sent last night, and it's also right here in the featured section. All right, so here I am. So what I've just done is I have gone Pro Advisor and I have selected training. This is all of the free training that comes inside of your QBO A account, okay? And what I'm going to do is go to the training library. And in the training library, we have product training, and then you have different, here's advising clients, here is foundation skills, okay? So, and inside, so this one's opened up already. So inside product training, you have QuickBooks Online. Ooh, this is new, QuickBooks Payments. Ooh, I'm gonna have to check that out. So it used to be just online payroll and time. But anyway, so this is your QuickBooks Online training. And then inside there, we have these different modules. So if I go, for example, to sales and customers, and then each of these modules is divided up into beginner skills, intermediate skills, and advanced skills. And then if you keep drilling down, some of these have Pro Advisor challenges. So I'm not saying, oh, look, here's also QuickBooks Payments. I wonder how that's different from the other QuickBooks Payments. All right, I got to check that out later. Anyway, because that's all new. I love it when Intuit just, they just throw us new stuff all the time that we have to figure out. And anyway, so it's inside of your QBOA account. Now, we did the survey, so it's an ongoing survey until I get all of these challenges done. But the next up that people requested was all about undeposited funds. Now, I mentioned that inside the group, okay, so here we are inside the group. There is a spreadsheet. You'll find the link to the spreadsheet inside inside this featured section in the welcome post. Okay, so that's going to take you to a spreadsheet that looks like this. Uh-oh, what happened to my spreadsheet? There it is. Okay, so it looks like this, and this is where you find those nearly 100 exercises that you can find all about. So if you look down at the different tabs, so there is getting started. This is the super basic. If you're brand new, you don't know anything about QBO, these are the exercises for that. They go along with our Getting Started the Fast and Easy Way mini course, which if you get the basic course or our Fast and Easy basic course or the gym, that this Fast and Easy or this Getting Started comes with it for free. And we're also working on making it a free just for anybody to get. So that's coming soon. But anyway, down here also you'll notice here are basic level. These are all exercises that come from our basic level course. And then we have advanced level exercises here. I'll talk about the gym in a minute. Then we have Pro Advisor challenges. So my survey is linked to all of these exercises that say, Margie, create, Margie, create, Margie, create, because there are so many exercises that I could create. So the one that people were interested in the most is this second most. Custom fields was the number one, and I did that a couple weeks ago. We talked about custom fields. And then here we have record an undeposited transaction. So this was the second winner. And so that's what we're going to be focusing on today, is all about undeposited funds, okay? If you look here, so this is our little internal code that tells us where to find this in the training, okay? So PC means Pro Advisor Challenge, and then it is Module 5. The I means intermediate, and then it's lesson number 6, okay? So I'm going to go back to the training. 5I6. Okay, so here we go. Let me go back to QuickBooks Online. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So it's in banking. Okay, it's in the intermediate section. And then number 6 right here, recording undeposited funds. And then you'll notice on the right-hand side, these are topics inside the lesson. And there is here a Pro Advisor Challenge. It looks like it should be a link, right? See, my cursor is on top of it, and it looks like it should be, you should be able to click it, but you can't. You actually have to scroll all the way to it. And the reason is because sometimes there are things like this, which is a knowledge check before doing the exercise. Okay, so let me just hop back over to full face, and we'll talk about what undeposited funds is, because in order for us to answer this question in the training, we have to know what undeposited funds is. All right, so here we go. So undeposited funds is a temporary holding area for money that has been received but has not yet been deposited into the bank. Okay, so typically what we're talking about in these modern times are checks and cash. Okay, so somebody mails in a check and or hands cash to our business owner, and then our business owner Craig is going to just hold on to that, and then eventually he's going to take it to the bank. Now, modern times, more often than not, he's going to do a mobile deposit of that check and not actually take it to the bank. That's a different story, so we'll talk about that toward the end. But we'll just we're going to be talking today about kind of old-timey, right? So you get the check, you get a bunch of checks, you have a bunch of checks in your hand or in an envelope or in a drawer or in one of those zipper bags from the bank, okay? And they're there in this temporary holding place. So undeposited funds means that it's in this temporary holding place, and then again, old-timey, Craig is going to go and take that envelope or that pouch or whatever, and he's going to take it to the bank and he's going to deposit all at once. Now, the reason that we have to do this in different steps is because when he makes that deposit in the bank, in this workflow that we're talking about, when he makes that deposit in the bank, it's going to consist of multiple checks. There's going to be one total lump sum that you see on the bank statement. Hey, I deposited $2,050. So on the bank statement, you're only going to see that one lump sum. And so you need to be able to match that to one deposit in QuickBooks Online. Because the bank's not going to tell you what individual things were in that deposit. Okay, unless you do a mobile deposit, which again we'll talk about at the end. All right, so let me go back to my desktop and let's answer this question that they're giving us in order to get to the Pro Advisor Challenge. Okay, so it says your client records payments from customers in QuickBooks Online as they receive them throughout the day. They just deposited 4 checks at the bank. Okay, so they received the payments, they've got 4 checks, they took all 4 of those checks, boom, and went to the bank. What's the next step they have to do to deposit those payments in QuickBooks Online? And the answer is a bank deposit, okay? We're going to talk about receive payment when we get into the exercises for today, but what we're talking about right now is a bank deposit, okay? So I'm going to click that, and it's going to say, yay, that's right. And it's saying you know enough now to do this Pro Advisor Challenge. All right, so now we have a Pro Advisor Challenge, and these are just smattering, I don't know. There is a smattering of them throughout the Pro Advisor training, okay? So, and sometimes they're there and sometimes they're not, who knows? But anyway, that's where they are. And so they guide you to use the sample company to, in this case, record an undeposited funds transaction. It's going to tell you the task. Okay, so here's what we would call in our training the scenario. So Craig has received checks from 2 customers for outstanding invoices. He doesn't have time to take them to the bank yet. Okay, so that's the key thing. And he asked you to record the received payments to undeposited funds. Undeposited funds is the traditional name of this temporary account. In the last year sometime, they changed the name of the account to payments to deposit. The reason they did that is because, as we'll talk about later today, people get confused as to what undeposited funds is, and they use it incorrectly. So they changed it. It's called payments to deposit in all new accounts now. Okay. Anyway, so that's why sometimes you'll see that. Okay. And then they guide you, say, okay, he got this check from Kathy, and he got this check from Jeff, and these are for the invoices. And then they just want you to go do it. And then after you're done, they say, how did you do? And then they'll say, okay, well, here's how to check to see if you did it right. And then they don't give you the actual instructions for how to do it until we come right here, our solution, and it's just click here, click there, do that. And there's no pictures, there's nothing to actually guide you. So that's why we are taking these Pro Advisor challenges and we're putting them into our signature fast and easy exercise format so that you know exactly step by step what to do, what it should look like. And then I'm also, as time allows, recording a walkthrough of it so you can see me actually do them too. So that's just to give you more breadth of experience. Now, this is the one that was voted on by the group. I didn't have a chance to actually convert this specific exercise, but I do have several exercises already created about undeposited funds, and so that's what we are going to walk through today. Okay, so our first one is receiving and depositing a payment. Okay, so this comes from our basic level course. If I go back to the spreadsheet, again, if you're inside the locker room, this spreadsheet is in the featured post that's in the welcome right there. You can get a link to it. So this is the one we're doing today, is basic level. Okay, and it is section 2 right here. Okay, so receiving and receiving and depositing a payment. Okay, so Mike, if you would go ahead and post this link in the chat so that people have it if they want to walk through it with me now, if you didn't get the email or you don't have access to the spreadsheet right this second. Okay, but this is what we're heading into, receiving and depositing a payment. Thank you. So we're starting in the sample company. Let me hop over so here I am in my QBOA account, which is what I was showing for the Pro Advisor challenges. So now I'm going to go to the gear icon and I'm going to select a sample company. So we're going to open the sample company. You should know that when you open up the sample company, you get logged out of your current account. So you want to make sure that you're not in the middle of doing anything. While that's loading, we're going to hop back over to the exercise and read our scenario. Great news! You just received 2 checks in the mail. One from Jeff's Jalopies and the other is from Cookies by Kathy. Both are paying their outstanding bills in full. You now need to mark their invoices as paid and deposit the money in the bank. In this exercise, you're going to practice 2 different ways to find the invoice. This is just for demonstration purposes. You can record a payment either way. Okay, so you've sent out an invoice. You've now received the check, and there's 2 things you have to do. It's a 2-step process. One is you have to mark the invoice as paid, and then 2, you have to actually deposit the payment into the bank. Okay, so that's what we're going to do. So step 1, we'll use the plus new button to find Jeff's invoice. Okay, so we're going to click plus new and select receive payment. Plus new, receive payment. Going back to our exercise while that's loading, okay? In the customer field, start typing Jeff's Jalopies. Then click on the name when it appears. A list of his outstanding transactions will appear. I said appear twice, but that's okay. All right. So the customer is, oops, not Hefe, Jeff's Jalopies. Okay, and here's the list of the outstanding invoices. He only has one. Okay, next up, steps 3 through 6. Select check from the payment method field. Okay, if you knew the check number, you could enter it in the reference number field. So right here, payment method, we're going to say that it was check. We don't have the check number. I probably should include that in the exercise. Actually, Mike, if you could make a note that I should probably add check number to this exercise, that would be great. In our case, we don't have it, so we're just going to leave that blank. All right. Then step 4, ensure that undeposited funds is selected in the Deposit-2 field. Okay, so we're depositing it to undeposited funds right here because, why? It's a temporary location. We're not actually putting it in the bank right now. Now, I mentioned mobile deposits. If you had done the mobile deposit at the same time that you got the check and you mobile deposited it, then there's in the bank's going to show just that one amount. Then you could say you deposited it to checking account if it was just that one check using mobile deposit at one time. Okay, but that's not the case. That's not what happened in our scenario. Okay, in our scenario, they're going into this temporary holding place. Okay, right here. Check the invoice that is being paid. Okay, so right here. Mike, maybe I should clarify that to say the checkbox, because check could just mean look at it. So click the checkbox would probably be a better thing for me to say there. Okay, so so right here, the checkbox. All right, and then we're going to click save and close. Okay, save and close. All right, then step 7. Now we're going to do Kathy's invoice. Okay, so to find Kathy's invoice, we're going to use the Sales Center. From the left nav bar, hover over Sales, then click Invoices. Okay, so here I am. I go to Sales and then Invoices. It says we might have pop-ups all the time in I'm not seeing any pop-ups right now, but you know, sample company, who knows. All right, and then step 8, to find Kathy's Find Kathy's invoice in the list and then click receive payment in the action column. So Mike, this should be bolded, receive payment in the action column, okay? Then we're going to repeat steps 3 through 6 to record the payment. In other words, we're going to do the same thing for Kathy that we did for Jeff's Jalopies, okay? So here we are. Here is my list of all of the invoices. Here is Cookies by Kathy right here. And I'm going to click receive payment right here. And then I'm going to open up, it's going to open up a screen just like what we saw for Jeff, only this is automatically checked because I selected the invoice. It says, oh, I'm paying this invoice. Okay, so always remember that the invoices are a 2-step process, actually 3-step process. Is you send the invoice, if that's the first step. Then when you get your payment, you always have to mark the invoice paid. If you don't mark the invoice paid and you just deposit the money, then you run into problems because QBO still thinks that you're owed the money. That's how we end up with issues, okay? All right, and then, I think step 6 included hitting save and close, so we'll go ahead and do that. Save and close. All right, going back to our exercise. This is new here too. Get paid up front. Oh, just check that out. All right, that's not what I wanted. This is not the right page. Here we are. This is where we are. And receive deposit. Okay, step 9. So now we've marked those 2 invoices paid, and we have the, don't forget to check the payment method. Oops. What happened? Did I forget to do that? That would be an issue if I did that. Hold on. Let me go back to Cookies by Kathy and make sure I did that right. Thank you, Karen. All right, I get too distracted. All right, Cookies by Kathy. Here's the payment. Payment method, you're right. I did not indicate it was a check. You should always do that. Okay, into payment. All right. You should always say how you received the payment. Then the reference number, if you have it. If it's a check, that would be a check number. If it was some other kind of payment, if it was cash, there wouldn't be a reference number. All right, so save and close. Thank you, Kathy. This transaction is linked to others. Are you sure you want to modify it? Yes, that's fine, because we didn't do anything that would affect those other things. All right, so now back to what I was saying. Thank you, Karen. So the first step 1 is to send out the invoice. Then you receive the payment for the invoice, and then you mark the invoice as paid, and then you actually deposit that money. Okay, so now we're doing the deposit part. So now let's deposit those 2 checks into the checking account. We're going to click plus new and select deposit. Plus new, and deposit is over here, bank deposit. Yep, click bank deposit. Okay, and then step 10, check the 2 payment transactions. Mike, this is another one that shouldn't say check, it should say click the checkbox to make it more clear. All right, and then so we're going to do that. Okay, so here's my bank deposit, and I have in this list all of the checks that are in undeposited funds. That's how things get in this list here. They get in this list because they were marked in undeposited funds. If you don't see something in this list, why wouldn't it be there? Because you didn't mark it as undeposited funds. Okay, so if you're troubleshooting and you're trying to make a deposit and you're like, why isn't it here? Then that's why. Okay. So these are all of the ones that are currently in undeposited funds, but for this exercise, we are only going to deposit these 2 for right now. So I am checking the box for the 2 that I am depositing, and you'll notice that QBO automatically totals them. So this is going to be the amount that you're depositing. This is the amount that's going to come across on the bank feed. Okay. Let's see. So use the drop down arrow in the green save and send button and click save and close. Okay, so we've got that, and we're going to hit save and close. Okay, and that's it for receiving and depositing a payment. So now when the bank feed comes over and you're going to match it to that deposit, and the invoices have already been marked paid. Now there's all sorts of things that could problems that could happen in that when that happens, and we'll talk about those in the exercises at the end. Okay, so that is the first exercise that we have. Now we also have a second exercise that is create a deposit. Okay, so it's similar, and Mike, you can go ahead and post this this exercise now. It's similar but different, and we'll go through it so you can see how in just a minute. All right, excellent. So there's the link. Thank you, Mike. All right, so let's read this scenario. Craig just received a $1,200 federal tax refund and deposited that check, as well as the ones he previously received from Cool Cars and Freeman Sporting Goods, into the bank. How would you record this deposit? Okay, so if he previously received Cool Cars and Freeman Sporting Goods, okay, checks, where are they going to be? They're going to be in undeposited funds, so we should see them in the list. So let's go ahead and do that. So I'm going to go back here. Whoops. Sorry, I should go through the exercise, shouldn't I? Step 1, click +1 and select bank, plus new and select bank deposit. Okay, plus new. And again, we're going to select bank deposit. All right, I feel like I should sing some Jeopardy music. All right, so, all right, then step 2, Craig deposited the checks that had already come in from Cool Cars and Freeman Sporting Goods. Because they have been waiting in undeposited funds, they show up here as available to include in the deposit, okay? So click the checkbox. See, this is the way I'm supposed to write it. Click the checkbox at the top of the column in the select the payments included in this deposit grid. Okay, so we just talked about how these are all in undeposited funds. Okay, so I can click the checkbox at the top and that will select both of them. All right, so now there's that much that's ready to deposit. But in this deposit, we have more than just the checks that came in for payment. We have another check. And that check, I forgot in the scenario what it said, but I'm sure it'll say here. Oh yeah, a refund check from the IRS. Okay, so now in the received from field, so now we're going to use the bottom. Is my head in the way? Oh, okay, there we go. Now we're using the add funds to this deposit. Okay. And in the received from field, we're going to say who it's from, okay? We're going to put IRS. Of course, in a real life scenario, this would already be set up because you would have already paid them. This is a refund, so you would already have paid them once. So now it's going to come back. But of course, this is a sample company, so we're going to have to add it. So we're going to say that it was received from IRS. We're going to click Add New IRS. Okay, and there's nothing else we need to know at this time, so we're just going to click Save. All right, envelope, add new. I always get ahead of myself. All right. Ooh, I've created it as a, did I create it as a, oh my gosh. I created it as a customer. I needed to create it as a vendor. Oh my gosh, you guys. So let's see. The group will be, my reception is lagging, just a blue circle, no sound. This would have been great value. The group will be, I'm sure. Yes, thank you, Sam. This is the, it will be recorded so you can go back and look at it. I'm sorry about, you know, whenever you do things live, there's always issues. All right, so this actually should be a vendor. There we go, vendor. Click Save. Oh, vendor name, IRS. Also, the beauty of having them pre-recorded. Oh, shoot. Okay, here's a tip. This is also the beauty of having them recorded, is you get to see all my mistakes. So I know sometimes people know that I am perfect or people think that I'm perfect and I know everything, but actually it's just good editing. And so when you're watching a live, you get to see that, that I make mistakes all the time. So you cannot have a vendor and a customer with the same name. So you sometimes have to send money in both directions. And so one thing that you can do, what we sometimes do is when we have the same name or customer name, is put in parentheses. So I'm just going to put in parentheses V, so we know this is the vendor version of this company. Okay, so click Save, and I'm sorry that we're not exactly the exercise, but it is what it is. All right, so I should have selected vendor. This is what happens when I get ahead of myself. All right, then click Save. All right, then step 6. All right, we're going to enter taxes and licenses. Refunds should always go back to the original account. That's a lesson for another time. But so we're going to put taxes and licenses in the amount field or in the account, and then $1,200 in the amount. Okay, so the account is taxes and licenses. Then the amount is $1,200. Now you could, I don't have this in the exercise, and maybe I should. Yeah, Mike, let's make a note about that. I should say the description. We should put a description so we know what this money is. And then the payment method, when you are the one, yeah, I would say check too. And then put the check number there also. Okay, so now, we're going to do save and close. Save and close. All right, so those are two examples of kind of the correct method for processing undeposited, putting money into undeposited funds, making a bank deposit, taking the money out of deposited funds. All right. So what happens, and let me actually go back here. All right. So what happens if people make mistakes? So what happens if money goes into undeposited funds and never comes out of it? And this happens all the time. And this is something that I hear from folks all the time about undeposited when they do a cleanup job, is that there's all this money in undeposited funds, and of course this is going to throw all of your reporting off. So you might be working with a client. They have all this money in undeposited funds, and you say, well, where is that, where is this money? And they say, oh, it's been deposited. I deposited a long time ago. So then you have to clean out that undeposited funds account as part of your cleanup. Now, depending on how bad it is, there are a couple of ways that you may want to handle it. There is the correct way, which would be to go in and match every single deposit. And then there is a quick way to do it if it's just really too much to figure out individually. So we're going to go through both of these, and these are from the advanced level course. So if you're not at the advanced level course, it's fine. Just try and follow along. It's all good. Got to always stretch yourself. Okay, so I'm going to hop back into this. I'm actually going to have to log out. If you're following along, you should do this too. Log out, and then we're going to log back in so that that will refresh the sample company. So here is our exercise. We're fixing undeposited funds the correct way. Let's go ahead and read our scenario. You've just started working with Craig, and you notice he has quite a few transactions in his undeposited funds account. You have confirmed with Craig that he has deposited all the money he has received. What is the correct way to clean this up? Okay, so let me go back here. Seems I'm still logging in. And then I need to go to the sample company. Here we go, sample company. Open the sample company, yes. And then somebody said that's a great tip or idea. I guess you're probably talking about the putting the V for vendor. You can put a V for vendor. Sometimes you have to have V for vendor and E for employee. All right, so in order to go through and correct this, we have to create the problem because we have to be able to see it in the sample company in order for us to understand what we're doing, okay? So that's what we're going to do first. So from the left nav bar, select banking and then click banking. Banking. Okay, and here we are, banking. We've got some pop-ups we have to close. All right, hopefully you guys can see this now that I've got a little more memory. Okay, so, and then step 2, okay, we're gonna click the $408 deposit. Do not click match, we're just clicking the deposit, okay? So let's find it here. Here it is, okay? So this has matched a deposit, okay, but we don't want to click match. We're just going to click the inside this transaction. Again, remember that we are creating the problem that we're going to solve, okay? So from inside here, step 3, we're going to click deposit. What we're doing now is we're looking at the deposit transaction. Okay, so this is what it looks like when you create a bank deposit. We saw this before, right? You created the bank deposit. You said, oh, this includes this one and this one, right? So that's what we're supposed to do, okay? So step 4, I don't want to confuse you. We're going backwards now, right? We're actually going to click, we're going to delete this this bank deposit. Okay, so we're creating the problem by deleting this stuff. Okay, so we're going to click more and then select delete. Okay, click more, delete, yes to confirm. Okay, then step 5. With the deposit transaction gone, QBO now has nothing to match the deposit-2 in the bank feed. Okay, all right, so now here we are back in our bank feeds, okay, and let's find that 408 again. So here it is, right? So here is $408, and we're like, what? I don't know what this is. And what I could do, the correct procedure here is to go, click on it and select find the match. Okay, and then here's all the possibilities, and then I check the ones that are included in this deposit. That's the correct thing. But what Craig did to create the problem was, instead of doing that, we'll say it was the former bookkeeper instead of Craig himself. Or I don't know, maybe we should say it was Craig. But instead of doing the correct procedure, which was to find what was included in this bank deposit, what Craig did was he just clicked add. Okay, so we clicked add. Okay, click add to duplicate the problem, then we're going to fix it in the next steps. Mike, let's change up this exercise so that it's in 2 parts actually. So we'll have like a part 1 that is create the problem, and then a part 2 that is fix the problem. I think that's the way I do things now. This is an older exercise. Okay, so step 6, okay, by clicking add instead of matching, all the funds remain in undeposited funds, causing it to be overstated. To correct this problem the right way, you'll need to find the correct matches. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to go to categorized. Now, these are all of the things. This list would show you every transaction that was ever categorized in QBO. Okay, I used to think when I very first started that it was that this tab was only the ones that I categorized in the login session that I'm in. But no, this is all forever and ever, everything that was ever categorized. And you can go in and you can find the one that was wrong. Okay, so in this case, here is the one that was wrong. It was added to, and it created a deposit. Now let's just look at that deposit. In a real life scenario, again, I don't want to get ahead of myself. In a real life scenario, you would need to search through several transactions to find the added deposit. In our case, there is only the one we added in step 5. Okay, so that's what I was just talking about. Okay, so let's take a look at the one that QBO automatically created. Okay, So when we clicked add, QBO created a deposit. And what does that deposit look like? I'm going to click it. Okay, and boom, look, none of these are checked because it didn't know which ones it belonged to, right? So all it did was it added to this bottom section, this add funds to this deposit. It's uncategorized income, $408. It doesn't know what it is, right? Remember in the last exercise when we did it ourselves and we put in the IRS deposit and we were like, okay, this is what this deposit is. When you clicked add, QBO didn't know. It didn't know how to match it up. So this is what we're going to fix, okay? All right, so we're going to review the deposit. Okay, this is what I just described. The top grid contains all the payments that are currently in undeposited funds. None of the payments are checked because none of them are included because QBO didn't know. The bottom grid contains all the deposits not currently associated with payments. This is where QBO has lumped the $408 transaction that you added previously. Okay, so here's what we're going to do instead. Okay, what we're going to do is we're going to remove that lumped deposit and select the payments that equal that amount. Okay, so we're going to click this trash can right here, say boom, it's not there. So now which of these is going to add up to be $108? Well, or $408. Well, I happen to know it's this one, Amy's Bird Sanctuary, and this one, John Melton. So when I check those, now it's $408. Let me go back. Okay, so check the boxes next to Amy's Bird Sanctuary and John Melton, and then click Save and Close. Okay, so that is the correct way to fix undeposited funds. Save and Close. Okay, so the correct way would be to go find the deposits that weren't linked to any received payments, and then delete it and link them to the correct received payments. Boom. Now, you can see how that could be difficult, right? If there were lots and lots and lots, and it would be really hard to match them up individually, okay? So if there's lots and lots and lots, and you can't do them all, it's not feasible to do them all like that, then you have to do this other workaround, and that's going to be our next exercise. So Mike, you can go ahead and plug that one in. This one right here, Fix Undeposited Funds the Easy Way. Now, this is an Intuit approved method because it's actually in your Pro Advisor training. They actually tell you how to do this. And in fact, I think it might even be on the advanced test, which is why I cover it. It's why I have an exercise for it. Okay, so we're going to talk how to do it the easy way. Now, to do that, I'm going to have to yet again reset everything. So I'm going to log out, log back in. Let's go ahead and read our scenario while that's loading. You have just started working with Craig, and you notice he has quite a few transactions in his undeposited funds account. Sounds familiar? That's what we just did. You confirmed with Craig that he has deposited all of the money he has received. Okay, so just like the last one. But in this one, the number of transactions in undeposited funds is too large to be able to clean up individually. What is the easiest way to clean this up? Okay, oh, and it's still loading. Well, we will just, what was that, that character that, what was that guy's name on SNL? And he would be like, okay, talk amongst yourselves. I can't remember what that was. I think his name's Michael, but it's not Michael Moore. That's what I've got stuck on my brain because Mike's helping me out today. All right. It was, no, not Michael Murphy. Mike, what's his name? I don't know. Go ahead and post it in the chat if you know who that I'm talking about. You know, Wayne's World, Shrek. Mike Myers! Thank you, Eric. Oh my gosh. I hate it when I have those things in my brain and I just cannot remember. I cannot remember what they are. Oh my gosh. All right. Come on, sample company. Come on, internet. You can do it. I believe in you. All right, here we go. It's showing up. Here we go. Okay, so now we're back in our sample company. Okay, so the easiest way to clean this up. Okay, so we're going to go to plus new and select bank deposit. Notice that this does not, oh man, still pause content even though I have everything closed. Oh well, I think it'll work eventually. So remember, this one you're going to find, like, it's so much simpler. Like, you don't have to do any research hardly. You don't have to like go in and find the different things. You just have to go to plus new and then bank deposit. Okay. So now steps 2 through 4. Okay. Click the checkbox at the top of the column to select all payments. Of course, in our fresh version of the sample company, we only have those 2. So we're just pretending that it's, like 200. Okay. So we're going to click the checkbox at the top. All right. Click the checkbox. Okay. And now we're going to, in the add funds to this deposit, and Mike, I need I should say in the add funds to this deposit, that should be part of step 3. In the add funds to this deposit grid, assign the account as sales of product income. Okay. So basically what we're doing is we're saying that, I should scroll this up a little. Okay, so what we're doing is what we're saying is that we did already receive this money. Okay, so it's all of this money went straight into sales of product income. Now, if you had accounts that were not sales of product income, maybe you had a sales of product income and you had a sales services income or something like that, or some other income, best practice would be to put it to the account that it actually was, okay, that it actually should be. But in this case, we're going to say it's just all of this is sales of product income. Okay, and then we're going to put the amount as a negative number. Okay, so what is the total here? The total is $2,062.52. So we're saying, let me get them both on the screen here. Okay, so we're saying that this negative 2062.52, okay? So when I tab out, notice that becomes 0. Okay, so we're saying we're moving all of this into sales of product income. We're saying it all went there. Okay, and the total result is 0 because this is kind of just like a behind the scenes thing that we're doing. This isn't actually going to affect anything in the bank. And in fact, I think that I have that as a note here. No. Maybe it's on the next page. Anyway, it doesn't affect the reconciliation status of anything, which I think that's on the test that they want you to know that reconciliation status of none of what we've done in either of these 2 fixing exercises, none of that affects the reconciliation status. Okay, so and also we should have a description. This is also, Mike, this is also missing from the exercise. We should add this to the exercise, or I should add this to the exercise. Me, it's all me. Undeposited funds cleanup. All right. Okay. And then we're going to click save and close. Okay. Click save and close. All right, and that is it, guys. Let's see, is there anything else I need to show you here? Nope. All right, it's all good. So now undeposited funds is empty. It all went back to the original, or the account that's tracking sales, and now we are all cleaned up. All right, and that's it for undeposited funds. Look, it is 11:59. This is a record. Usually I go over, so I am excited that I'm actually on time today. Yay! Everyone, thank you so much for coming, and a big, huge round of applause to Mike for helping us out today. Thank you, Mike. Oh, and it looks like Joel is back. Look. So if you have any other questions, of course, I'm going to stay on until I make sure that I've gotten you guys all taken care of. And let's see. Thank you. Have a good day. Thank you. Okay. Phew. All right. And good. I was one of my peers on LinkedIn. She just posted a thing about undeposited funds, and I was like, "What? You stole my idea!" Like, I'm also doing a live stream thing about undeposited funds tomorrow, and she said, this was yesterday, obviously, and she said, "Oh, undeposited funds. Everyone gets confused, and it's like we can never talk about it enough." So. I don't know if that's true, that we can never talk about it enough, but but it's always a good topic. So don't forget to vote on what you would like to cover next. That doesn't mean we're going to do it in the next live stream, but it does mean that it's becomes top of my list for creating new exercises. And I always post those new exercises in the locker room. So if you're watching the recording, make sure that you watch the locker room. Mike is saying, "Do you want me to add some points to your account for this, Mike?" Is that what you're saying? All right, doesn't look like we have any more questions, I think, popping up. Just love for me, and I've got love to send you guys back. So, so you guys have a great weekend, and I will talk to you soon. Bye-bye.